Hi everybody, how are you? Well, in today's video I'm going to show you how I created this photograph. But before we get into that, I just want to say hello to everyone who's on my Shine 4 workshop. It's been an amazing few days. Here are some of my favourite photographs from this workshop. So before we get into this video, I'm going to give a cheeky shout out to Flashmasters, which is the brand that my partner Helen and I devised and founded about 2 years ago now. We have recently completely rebranded. We've knocked down the old Flashmasters house and built a new one, and it's so much better. So there's lots of changes. Flashmasters is now completely free to join. You don't get very much, but you will get your own free profile page. And we've now introduced Flashmasters tutorials, which is incredible education, not just from me, but from all of our ambassadors. For example, we have dedicated tutorials about how to shoot champagne spray with Jeff Tisman. Arno de Brown in Amsterdam, where we followed Arno around Amsterdam and he transformed boring locations into beautiful, epic photographs. We've got how to shoot in midday sun with Jesse and Maura LaPlante, how to shoot wedding rings with George Pompilio, how to shoot sparklers with the GOAT himself, Scott Josewhite. We have so much content on there and it's being added to all the time. So we're so proud of what we've got. So if you want to find out more, please visit flashmasters.co. Anyway, in today's video, we're going to show you how I created this photograph. So what first drew me to this photograph was this, not particularly great, but this light up here. As I mentioned many times on my Shine workshop, when we expose for a bright object like this, everything else in the photograph is going to go very underexposed. And that means that the sky outside is going to go very dark. But I also noticed this mirror here. I thought, ooh, interesting. What would happen if I come back over here? I placed our model just about here and I shot over her head, incorporating in the chandelier, but then keeping the symmetry of the two windows. So what I'm going to do now is take a shot without Demi in the photograph. Now I know that I don't want to go into high speed sync, so I'm going to set my shutter speed to 250. I'm going to go 1.8 with my aperture, and my ISO will be, it's really dropping this ambient light. I'm going to go to 400. And this shot is completely natural light, just to see what the composition is going to look like. And as you can see on the screen, I think that's quite effective. Excuse me sweating, by the way, it's been a long 3 days. But what I want to do is make the roof that we see in the windows blue. So to do that, I'm going to go to my white balance and go really low. Let's go to 4000 Kelvin, take the same photograph again. As you can see now, the outside is getting bluer, which I really like. Might be able to go a little bit further down even. Let's go to 3500 Kelvin. Now it's looking like I want it to look. Now it's not completely blue, but I like this with the composition and I can make that go even bluer in post. So what we need to do now is bring in our model. I'll go and see if I can find her. Oh my God. May I pinch you?
You didn't want to open the door.
Oh, thank you. I'm afraid, sorry James, I feel bad, but it might just be Demi. Okay, Demi. Demi, the star of so many of my YouTube videos. We've not worked together for quite a while, so it's been really nice to see Demi again. For these shots, Demi, although I'm going to be behind you, I'm going to be asking you to look into that mirror. So you're facing this way. You'll actually will eventually have a light here, so you'll be almost like pretend that the light's here. So you'll be facing that way with your body, this way, and then this is where the light's going to be. Yeah, perfect. So this is just to... Actually, one step to your left, please, Demi, towards, yeah, perfect. So I'm now trying to make sure that Demi is symmetrical. Actually, one tiny step to your right, Demi, sorry. There. And if you can just stay there. Yeah, this is going to look cool, I think. Okay, obviously just natural light at the moment. Now, the banister is in this photograph which is a bit of a pain, but I will be able to get rid of that with generative fill. So let's add on our light source. I'm going to use the MagBox Pro 24 Octa for this, handled by the very dishy and talented Andy Wilkinson.
Don't think it is handled well.
Cool. I've mentioned this so many times in my videos, but the closer the light source, the softer the light will be. And the great thing about this situation, because the mirror is so slim, I can put this close to Demi and you won't see it in the final photograph without any editing at all. That's got a grid on at the moment. We don't need the grid because the grid is excellent at limiting the spill of light. But because I'm shooting into a very narrow mirror, there's nothing for that light to spill onto. If it spills behind Demi, it doesn't matter to this photograph. Actually, I just need to move it a little bit further back. Sorry, it is in. There we go, that should be enough. I mean, it's going to be a very low power, so I'm going to guess 64.
Sorry, I need to interrupt this video because as you're going to see, I did make a mistake in this video, and I think it's good to talk about that mistake and why I made that mistake, because there is a perfectly valid reason for it. So the way that I set my camera up is on a wedding day. For the vast majority of the time, I am shooting completely in natural light and shooting moments. So for those shots, I have my camera set up in manual, which is basically on my Sony A9II, this M here. And I have my EVF, the electronic viewfinder, turned on so that I'm seeing live exactly what I'm shooting. I'm shooting in electronic with my shutter, so it's completely silent, which again, I personally love because I feel like that gets me closer to the action. I can take more shots and get the decisive moment. Plus, I have auto review turned off. So when I take a photograph, I don't see it on the back of the camera unless I want to see it. And that's just because I know that the camera's taking photographs. I know exactly what the exposure is because I'm seeing the EVF, and there's no need for me to review those shots unless I want to. However, that all changes if I'm using off-camera flash. And I have a memory recall button set up on my Sony A9II, which is this one here, if the camera can see that. And that is what I call my off-camera flash mode. So what that means is when I go into memory recall 1, I have certain things that change automatically. And what I do is I will always, when I'm taking an off-camera flash portrait, I will start off by shooting in natural light. In other words, I'm in M. And then I will get my natural light correct, and I call that my layer 1. So basically I'm setting my ambient, and then I will flick to memory recall 1, which is my off-camera flash mode. And what I need to do is just remember my shutter speed, aperture, and ISO, because when I go into 1, then it will go to a default. So in this situation, I had to just remember, okay, that's 250th, f1.8, and ISO 100. In fact, here is me doing that on this shoot.
This way you don't see because I've put it into, not put it into off-camera flash mode. What was I on? 251.8 ISO 400.
Now, when I go into memory recall 1, when I put my camera into 1 here, it does 3 things. Firstly, when it comes to my shutter, I go from electronic into mechanical, because on the Sony A9II and the A9, you have to shoot in mechanical shutter or auto, but I don't use auto. So you're basically in mechanical shutter for off-camera flash shots. So that's the first thing that I'd change. I also turn auto review on, because off-camera flash photographs are different to what our eye sees. So I want to make sure that I'm continually checking to see that what I'm getting with my off-camera flash is correct. So I'll take a shot and automatically I'll see that shot through the EVF or on the back of the screen here. And finally, I turn the EVF off, because if I have the EVF on and I'm seeing the exposure that my camera is going to shoot at live, if I'm underexposing, which I'm often doing for off-camera flash, that could make it very hard for the camera to focus. So for example, if I'm trying to just expose for a chandelier and I want to underexpose that photograph, and then I put, say, my model, or in this case Demi, in one of the shadow areas, the camera may struggle to focus on her because the EVF is on. So if I turn the EVF off, the camera goes into what I call night vision mode. It's like DSLR days where you're just seeing the reality through the viewfinder, and that makes focusing much easier. So in a nutshell, when I'm shooting off camera flash, I go into memory recall 1, that turns the EVF off. It turns auto review on, and I change my shutter from electronic to mechanical. Now, the mistake that I made in this video was, as you saw, in order to get that really nice blue in the background, I turned my Kelvin down whilst I was in M to 3,500 Kelvin, and that was good because that gave me that cool cold blue look that I wanted. And what my idea was, that when I bring Demi into the scene and take a shot of her, because of that low Kelvin, Demi will be really blue or look quite ill. But that wouldn't matter because I would put a CTO gel in the MagBox that will warm up the light that comes out of the MagBox so Demi looks healthy again. And that was going to be the point of the video, how I can shoot at low Kelvins but then compensate by using a CTO gel. So Demi looks healthy, the background is still blue. However, what I didn't take into account is that when I'm shooting in a low Kelvin, a low manual white balance in M, when I switch to my memory recall 1, my off-camera flash mode, it won't take those white balance settings with it. So my camera then defaulted when I moved to memory recall 1 to my normal Kelvin, which was 6,000. And I didn't realize that in the cut and thrust of the video. And I'm going to blame that on the fact that it was a workshop. I was working really, really fast. The natural light was going fast. And basically, I just forgot. Now, I should have realized, one, by looking at the back of the camera, and two, by thinking, I was going to put a CTO in that MagBox, and I don't need to now. What's all that about? So I didn't realize, and that's the mistake that I made. Now, I could still get to where I wanted to get to by editing the image. So what I had to do was go round the background with a brush and really lower the white balance manually in post. I didn't want to have to do that for the sake of this video. I wanted to show you how you could do it in camera, but I forgot. So that is the mistake that I made. Anyway, I just wanted to explain that in case when you see me taking the shots that you're going to see now, you're going to think, that blue in the background, it's all gone. That's why. Apologies, but I thought it's best just to talk through the reasons why, because actually, when it comes to shooting weddings, where you want to be shooting sometimes natural light, sometimes off-camera flash, and you're alternating very quickly, that's how I work. Having a memory recall button where you're setting up like an off-camera flash mode is really, really useful. So I would recommend you do that. Just be aware that if you're going to change your white balance, you need to be aware of that. Anyway, here's me back at the workshop.
Oh, we're getting close. Let me just move this slightly this way. Ironically, I might need to put the grid back on because it is spilling quite a lot. Let me just see. We're close. Everything's a bit too bright. It's going to drop my ISO from 400 to 100. So, Demi, can I just make you 1 inch to the left, please? It's really minute changes. This is all about the symmetry. Yeah, that's nice. So I'm going to go to the 135 now, because this will just compress everything and Demi will be larger in the frame. So I'm now just concentrating on the chandeliers and Demi, not so much the full window. Oh, focusing is tough now. Nice. Head a little bit to the right for me, Demi. Yeah. Really good. Let's go this way. Now I am in this, but I'm so underexposed, it won't be a problem in the end. Gorgeous, Demi. Amazing. Whew, thank you very, very much, Demi. So here is my favourite photograph from this shoot. The main thing though about this video, again, is to say a huge thank you to Demi, to James, to Darcy, to Matt and to Kit, to Helen and Emma for helping everything in the background run so smoothly, and to every single person who has attended Shine. You are all legends. Thank you so much for watching. If you've got any questions about anything I've done in this video, please let me know in the comments. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you next time. Flashmasters. Thank you, everyone.